Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a maroon eyeshadow look. Very good for fall, very wearable. I'm actually going out to dinner later with my friends, so we're all going to kind of get dressed up. So stay tuned and then I will show you the eye look. So first I am going to prime my face. I'm using the Bare Minerals Blemish Rescue primer. It's the same one I use in pretty much all my videos. So I just apply it all over my face pretty much. And then the foundation that I'm going to be taking today, I'm going to be mixing my Makeup Revolution Stick Foundation. I am wearing shade F6. So you just twist it up like a lipstick, and then you just rub it on your face. This is a very good full coverage foundation. Okay, and then I am also going to mix it with a little bit of the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I'm in shade 02 Natural. Normally, I would mix it with this Clinique Beyond Perfecting foundation, but it's a little bit too dark for me. So then I just go ahead and I pump some on my hand. So then I'm going to take my foundation brush, and I'm just going to dip into that and then work it in with the stick foundation that I already put on my face. Just want to go ahead and stamp it in. Some people like to rub with their brush, but I just like to pat it in just kind of like a beauty sponge. And always get your ears and make sure everything is the same color and it blends well together. And then once that's all out, you can definitely dip back in. And I did about 3 pumps. That should be enough, maybe a little bit too much even, to get your whole face and like your neck and everything. And then get the other ear. And these foundations are buildable, so I mean they're pretty full coverage as it is, but you can like dip into it a little bit more and get some better coverage. I'm just gonna dip my hand or my brush back onto my hand and just kind of go over where I want some extra coverage. And then again, you definitely want to bring it down your neck so you have no lines. It's a mistake that a lot of people have. And then however far down you want to bring it, it's really your preference. I guess it just depends how good your foundation matches your skin. My foundation's probably a little bit too dark for me and might not look it on the camera, but in real life it's a little bit darker for me. I mean, I like that just so it brings a little bit more color, especially when I start to get a little bit more pale in the months to come. Alright, so that's pretty good. So then I ended up not using all the foundation on my hands, so you can just wipe it off, or you can add it back in. I think I'm just going to wipe it off just because it's a little bit easier and a little bit more sanitary. But if you don't want to waste any product, you definitely can take like a makeup wipe and just rub it off. Alright, then next up is going to be concealer. I use the Maybelline New York Fit Me Concealer. I am in shade, this one is 5. This one's a little bit too light for me. So I do have this one. It's in shade 10. The 10 is in shade Fair and the 5 is in shade Ivory. So what I'm going to do, just to get a little bit more highlighting effect, I'm going to take the number 10 and put the majority of that one all over. So you get some extra coverage, cover up those dark circles. Also, I like to put some on my chin, on the Cupid's bow, and then a little bit down the nose. Just to make sure everything comes together and it's highlighted. And then I'm going to take the shade 5, it's a little bit lighter, and put it more just in the inner corner of my eye, just to make that even a little bit more brighter. As you can see, it's a little bit lighter. So then I'm going to grab my damp beauty sponge and I'm just going to blend that all out. And then you can bring it up on the eyelids. I usually do. I just use it that way for a primer for my eyeshadow. Sometimes you can buy actual eyeshadow primer. However, I just like to use concealer. I think it works just fine. Okay, so once that's all blended out, I like to take my makeup sponge and just go over all of my foundation. This just smooths everything out. Make sure there are no brush strokes or any marks that you wouldn't want on your face. It also makes things just look all nice and even. Okay, so once you did that, go ahead and take your powder. I use the Coty Airspun extra translucent extra cover. I'm getting a little bit empty. Might be time to open a new one. So what I do is I just go ahead and take that same beauty sponge and I'll just dip it right in there and then set my under eye. Some people like to bake their under eye. I think that's a little bit too drying for me personally, but whatever works for you. This just ensures that you don't have any creasing, that the makeup does not move anywhere. It's very important, like if you're going out, you have stuff to do, you don't want your makeup to move. And then I will just take this more fluffy brush. It actually says it's a bronzer brush, but I like it for powder brush. And then I will just dip it in the same powder and go over my entire face with it. And you really want to press that in. And you want to make sure they have a nice base for all of your other products and your eyeshadow. So really make sure that your foundation is set. If you don't like a super heavy like powder feeling, then you can go ahead and just lightly cover it up with powder, all your foundation. But I personally just really don't like mine to move, and I don't have a super greasy skin, so I can put a little bit more on. And then you also don't want to forget like your neck, your ears, setting those ears. You really just want to set everything that you applied foundation to. And I think this powder is just about done, so I'm just going to go ahead and open another one of these real quick. I mentioned in another video that these Coty Airspun powders do come with like a little puff. This is what it looks like. It's just like a fuzzy thing. Some people like to use it. I personally just don't. Some people think it's easier to like pack on the powder with that. I mean, it does work. I just prefer a brush. Okay, so once I set my whole face, I like to dip my beauty sponge back in, and I'm going to bake my nose because my nose does get a little bit oily. So letting that powder sit on there and bake is going to ensure that that does not happen and nothing is going to move. I also will set my chin because my makeup does tend to move a little bit on my chin, and then I'll just take any excess and just put it between my eyebrows because I have a lot of like expression lines there. And I also sometimes do bake my smile lines because those do break up a little bit on me, but today I'm just not going to do that. Sorry, I have a hair there. Alright, and then one also very important step, you want to make sure that you set your eyelids. Some people don't do this because they think that it makes the eyeshadow a little bit more pigmented. However, I personally always set mine because I think that it creates creasing. Because if you have a wet base and you're just putting eyeshadow on it, it does make it a little bit more blotchy, in my opinion. So I just take a smaller brush, dip it in my powder, tap off the excess, and set my eyelids. I will take some of the excess and just run it back underneath my eyes, just for a little bit extra coverage while setting. Alright, so now that my entire face is set, I'm going to go ahead and dig into my eyeshadow, see what I want to work with. I have a lot of different maroon shades that I do like to use, so I'm just going to get out a couple of them. Many of them are actually from Morphe. I love Morphe eyeshadows. I think they work very well. So this palette is the 350M or matte. This is a very good palette. They actually don't really have a set maroon color. I think I might use this like red color for like before a true maroon color. So what I think I'm going to do, I actually got a new brush. I stopped at Ulta today with one of my friends. I was looking for like a smaller crease brush. So I actually went to Ulta and bought one. It's the Morphe M506. So I think I'm gonna try that out today. It looks like that. It looks like a dome shape. I think that'll be good for that crease. So I'm gonna take my normal crease blending brush from Japanesque, and I have actually the Z palette I got a couple years ago. It's full of Makeup Geek eyeshadows, and I think I'm going to use some of these today. I haven't used them in a while, so I think I'm going to start off with this one right here, kind of like that camely brown color. It's called Tiki Hut by Makeup Geek. So I'm just going to go ahead and dab my makeup brush in there, tap off the excess, and I'm going to go in my crease with that today. I haven't used these eyeshadows in so long. I almost forgot about them. But these Makeup Geek eyeshadows are really good quality and they're pretty cheap. They're similar to like Morphe. I think they vary in price depending on what you get. Like these ones are like the duochrome ones. Those are a little bit more expensive. But just like the plain like matte eyeshadows, and they're around $5 or $6. So you can go ahead and blend that to your desired effect. If you want a little bit darker, you can definitely add more. If you want it lighter, you can definitely go in a little bit lighter than I did. But I just repeated the steps. I dipped my brush into the pan and went over to the other eye. And you really want to make sure that transition shade is good and blended, because that's going to be the base. And then what I'm going to do is, I've shown this before on my channel, I'm just going to go into my bronzer. It's a Rimmel bronzer. It's the natural bronzer. I'm just going to dip my brush into that and add that to the crease as well, because that's a very good transition shade as well. So you just want to take it from outer edge to inner corner, making like windshield wiper motions and also circular motions to blend that all out. And maroons and like these brown colors are very good for any color eye. I have blue eyes, and I think these colors really make blue eyes pop. I think they match very well, so I always like when I get to do a maroon eye look. Okay, so once you have all that blended out, I'm going to take that brush from Morphe that I just bought today. I'm going to dip it in that maroon color right there. This one is in the shade Bitten. So I'm going to go ahead and dip my brush into that, get it nice and coated, and then I'm going to just put that right in the crease. These eyeshadows are very pigmented. As you can see, you can already see the pigment, and I just barely dip my brush in to the pan. So you can go ahead and build up that look. I'm just going to go ahead and do that to the other eye. Brushes might be a little bit too small. It's probably better for like a detail brush, so I might have to go back to Ulta and get a different one, because it's not quite what I was looking for. Okay, so once you have that on there, I'm going to go ahead and grab that blending brush. I'm just going to dip it once into that Makeup Geek eyeshadow and go ahead and blend that out. And these colors sometimes might look a little bit intimidating, but you just really got to work with them. You just have to keep blending and blending until it looks seamless and it gets to the effect that you're looking for. As you can see, that already looks better than that, obviously. So again, I'm just going to dip it in once, tap off the excess, and go into the other eye. This maroon is a little bit more of like a red shade maroon. I do think I'm going to dip into one of my other Morphe palettes that I have and use a little bit more of like a purpley maroon. It's a little bit deeper. I think I'm going to put that like on the outer edge. I think that'll complement this pretty well. Okay, so once that is nice and blended out the way you want it to be, I am going to take... I'm going to go in with that Morphe brush, and I'm going to dig into this color in this Morphe palette. It's a little bit dark, a little bit more purple. This is the Morphe 25B palette. I'm just going to dip my brush into that, and I'm just going to focus that more on the outside. It's a little bit deeper of a color, as you can see right there. Just add that to the corner, and then I'm going to go in with no additional product on this blending brush, and I'm just going to fuse those two together along with the crease shade. Blending is a process. You do have to be patient with it, but the work definitely does pay off, and then it'll leave you with a really pretty eye look in the end. You just have to keep blending and keep on blending. Okay, so I think that's pretty blended out. So now, I don't know if I should do like a gold lid or maybe more like a champagne color. I always like this color in the Morphe palette. You can't really tell on camera, but in person, it's like a champagne-y, I don't want to say like pink, but it does almost have like a pink color. So some people do spritz their brushes with like, I'll get it even wet with just water or like primer. But these Morphe shadows, these shimmers are really good, and I personally don't think you need to. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply that to the lid. You can apply it with your fingers. Sometimes that does work a little bit better. This is just an e.l.f. Like flat shader brush. These do have a little bit of fallout, so just be aware of that. That doesn't mean it's a bad eyeshadow, but you can definitely wipe that off later. And I love this color with like maroons, even browns, really anything. It's kind of a really versatile color. So you can just go ahead and apply that all over the lid. And you could even just leave it like that. But I'm actually going to take this pencil brush from e.l.f. And I am going to dip it into that darker maroon shade in the Morphe palette. This one right here, the 25B. And I am actually just going to put that on the outer corner. So I'm just dipping into the pan of that color and then tapping off the excess. I'm going to do the same to the other eye. Okay, and then to blend the lid shade and the crease shade together, I'm just going to go in with that flat shader brush with no additional product and just go over that maroon just to fuse the two together. Okay, so once those are blended together, I just am going to go back in with that small crease brush from Morphe, and I'm just going to go over the crease lightly just to remove any glitter that might have gotten on there. Then I'm going to go back in with the big blending brush and just go over it again. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the eyeshadow then. It's not too hard. So then I'm going to start on the face products. So I'm going to go in with my same bronzer that I always use, the Rimmel Natural Bronzer. I'm not sure if they have like different colors or not. I think this one was maybe one of the darker ones because I bought it when I was a little bit more tan in the summer, so I just dip in there and I just tap off the excess, and then I just go over my cheeks. Actually, before I do this, I did have some fallouts again from the glitter eyeshadow and also a little bit from the darker maroons. So what I'm going to do to erase that is dip your, I'm going to dip the brush that I used to set my eyelids in with the powder. You want to coat it pretty well and then just wipe super lightly. You want to barely touch your face, because if you touch it hard, the eyeshadow is going to set in with your powder to your face and you're going to have eyeshadow all over. So you just want to dab it in that powder and just brush away soft and quick. Okay, so now that we have all that powder under our eyes cleaned up, now I'm going to start on the face. So I'm going to go back into my bronzer, tap off the excess, and then go on my cheeks, kind of where like you would contour. And then I go like this, and then I just take it up. Then I am going to dip back in again, tap off the excess. Sometimes I'll contour my face, but I think this does a pretty good job. See, like this side already looks a little bit more like up. This one needs a little bit more shape, so I'm going to dip in, tap the excess off. Just going to bring a little bit more warmth to the face, make us look a little bit more alive. I think bronzer is definitely great, like in the I'm gonna go on my forehead. It's great in like the winter months and the fall months, because you do get a little bit more pale. You still want to bring some color to your face, so definitely recommend this Rimmel bronzer. Also recommend the Physicians Formula. That one smells really good. It smells like coconuts. That one's about like $12, $13. You can get that one at Ulta. I believe you can get it at like drugstores, Walmart. Okay, so once you have that, then I'm going to go in with my blush, and this is actually a new one. It's the Wet n Wild Color Icon in the shade Pearlescent Pink. This one's a lot better than this one. I think I featured this on my other videos, but it's a lot better than this ombre blush by Wet n Wild. And I think this one might be, this was like $2 or $3. I think it might be even cheaper than this one. This one, it's not so good. I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and throw it away. This one is very pigmented though. I'm just going to take it on this e.l.f. Blush brush. It's like a little bit angled. So honestly, if you just dip it in there like once, look at all that pigment. There's a lot of pigment that comes off. So you definitely want to tap off the excess. And then go in with a pretty light hand. You just want to put it on the apples of your cheeks and bring it back. I love blush. I think it's so pretty. See how pigmented that is? Oops. This goes pretty well with the makeup look as well. It's kind of, this blush is a little bit more like corally. It's not super pink. And then if you accidentally like put too much on or something, you can go in with that damp beauty sponge and just kind of go over it, or even like your powder brush and go over it. But I like to put a little bit more like blush and bronzer on, just because it does sometimes wear off on me a little bit throughout the day. So it might look like a lot, but it does wear off just on my skin. See, I got a little bit too much right here, so I'm just going to take the powder brush and go over that, and that'll correct it. Okay. So once you have that on, I think I'm going to go in with my mascara and stuff, just because I like highlighting. I just want to save that for last. So I'm going to go in with my eyelash curler and just go in and curl my eyelashes. The way I like to do it is just go ahead and grab them in there and put them in there and just pump. Some people do like to warm theirs up with a blow dryer, or some people like to run it under hot water. It does work. I just find sometimes you get a little bit too like wet with the water, and it can wreck your makeup a little bit. So I find that just putting it on there and just pumping does a pretty good job as well. My right eye has a little bit more trouble for whatever reason, so I just go in with that one a little bit more. This one is the one that always gives me trouble. So I just go in, do it as many times as I need. So today for mascara, I think I'm going to use the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This has been one of my favorites for years. It's a little bit on the pricier side. It's about like $22, but it is one of my favorites. I think it just makes your eyelashes just look really long with the difference. I love this mascara. And then sometimes if I think my mascaras aren't doing as well on certain days, sometimes you just have those days. I will maybe top it with like another one. This one is the Butter Linen Double Decker Mascara. This is also about the same price range. That one's a really good one too. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit today. And sometimes when I'm doing like a little bit heavier of eyeshadow, I do like to add a top eyeliner liquid liner, but today I just didn't want to. But it's definitely a step that you could add. Okay, so once you have the desired effect for those, you can set that aside. Then I'm just going to grab my L'Oreal Infallible 16-hour eyeliner in brown and put that on my lower lash line. And I just try to do like a little bit thinner of a line, not super thick. Then I'm going to take my Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara and just hit the bottom lashes with this. This is a great mascara for the bottom lashes. Makes them look pretty long. Alright, so the eyes are basically done. I mean, if you wanna, you could even go in with that like maroon color. You put all in your crease. You could go like on the lower lash line. I just chose not to do that today. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And then I'm gonna go in with the last step, my favorite step, which is highlighter. Today I'm going to mix my Wet n Wild highlighter, the Precious Petals highlighter. I'm gonna go ahead and mix that with my Tarte highlighter in Exposed. This one's a little bit lighter, like a little bit of a champagne color. This Wet n Wild is a little bit more of like a pink tone in it. It kind of matches my lid shade a little bit. So first I'm going to go in with the Tarte one. I'm just going to dab that in there, tap the excess off, and go on the high points of my face. And also go around my eyebrow. See, it's very pretty on its own. I just want a little bit more, the extra bit of highlighter just because I am going out after this. Go ahead and put that, and then I put some on my nose, Cupid's bow, and a little bit on your chin. And then to top it off, I'm going to take that Wet n Wild highlighter and just focus more on the back section of it. And then with this color, I'm actually going to take it up here above my eyebrow as well, just to highlight that brow bone. And then after that, I'm going to take that same Japanese blending brush we used earlier and just go over that just to make sure that the shade we just put on mixes with the crease shade. Okay, so that's basically it. And since I want this makeup to last, I am going to spray it with some Urban Decay All Nighter. This really does make your makeup last for a very long time, so you can just go ahead and give it a few spritzes, let it dry. And that's basically it. So if you guys like this video, definitely go ahead and give it a like, and make sure to subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.